Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps. It is I, your host with the most renaissance man who always thinks he can, and champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back for another episode of the Gillette Gazette, presented to you by Stadium Rant. And joined with me, as always, he is the man who's pretty fly for a science guy, the doctor of patriotonomics, Sora. Sora, what's poppin', my dude? How we doing?
We're doing well. Celtics are in a tense game 6 here. I don't know if my heart can handle it, so I'm glad we have a little distraction.
Yeah.
Well, the Pats schedule is starting to get leaked a little bit more and more. I think we're close to knowing the full thing. So let's talk shop.
I'm excited for it because it feels like for a while now, Sor, it's just been a lot of all right, we're waiting. And the draft happened, but that was great 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago at this point, whenever it was. It's what's that next thing? And before we get real nitty gritty with the Pats schedule, I just want to talk the schedule release overall and your thoughts on it, because it seems like it's something that has been evolved into an off-season event. You know what I mean? Just because of this age of social media and whatnot. Like when we were growing up, the schedule release to me, I didn't really realize it till July when you got the magnet for your fridge. That's when I found out the schedule release. And now to be at work and, I'm being texted like, oh, we're, potentially opening up against this team. And, oh, we might not go to Miami in week 2. And, stuff like that. It's crazy to see how such a little event like this has evolved in something that's just like league wide and covered on the NFL Network.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I think there's a big void between the draft and between like training camp. And so you want to have that kind of filler event that really takes puts football back in the moment every so often. And like anything the NFL schedules, people will be all over. And so this is another one of those things. And I like it because as like each game kind of like obviously the schedule is supposed to release in one go at around 8:00, but really you kind of see the games being leaked throughout the day, and you kind of get to imagine like your experience as a fan every time a new game comes out. Like, oh, we're playing in Europe. That means, I can wake up to football, or like Christmas Eve, I'm with my family. I'm gonna open presents the next day, and I'm getting a new present. Like, we'll talk about what games have been scheduled, but I really like it because I get to kind of see what my experience as a Patriots fan is going to be like.
Yeah, and the thing about it is it starts the conversation for the season. It gets the ball rolling with, okay, at least we have some concrete evidence on not only who these rumored opponents are, but when it's going to happen. Because that's another thing with this whole schedule release is that, you would rather, you see games come up. Oh, we're going to play this team. I'm just going to tease it right now and get the ball rolling with it. Like that the Eagles, it's been rumored right now that the Eagles are the alleged week 1 opener for the Patriots. And my initial thoughts with that are that I don't mind the Eagles. I like when teams like that play against each other. But week 1, like really? I think that's bizarre. And it also, yeah, it's bizarre. And there's different combination stuff that, early in the season, later in the season.
It's bizarre, and it's a little bit of a gut punch. Yeah. The Pats have been kind of screwed over when it comes to scheduling the last couple of seasons, and this is not what you need when you're trying to rebuild and trying to really get something going. So I was a little unhappy, but I mean, that is just how it is. Objectively, it's a good game against the Super Bowl runner-ups. It's a great way to test our mettle really, really early. And there's another little surprise with that first game. A certain special guest certain special guest is coming to Gillette with Mr. Tommy Terrific.
I'm making. Hold on, I want to make TV. Okay, yeah. It's being announced right now. Yeah, Sora, go on about it. Tom Brady's returning.
It's
Go
just
off while I make this.
as a person who spent 10 years of my life with my room as a shrine to that man. It broke me seeing him play somewhere else. It broke me seeing him retire somewhere else. And it just feels right that he's coming back to New England for one last little celebration of his career and kind of acknowledging where all the non-Patriots fans were expecting him not to acknowledge, that he is really and truly a Patriot.
To me, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, expected this, maybe a year or two too late because of where he went after New England. But yeah, this is going to be the ceremony he deserved when he walked away from the game. And if there's any athlete in New England, even in the world, to be honest with you, that has made such a massive impact on one sports city, it's him. And my dad and I were just talking about it, and he saw that someone said that they should make the Tom Brady statue outside of Gillette Stadium bigger than the Rio Jesus Christ one in Brazil.
Absolutely.
And it just right. Don't you believe?
I fully agree.
You have to. The man literally brought a city that was so just heartbroken. It was, almost there, all that, and just built this empire that transferred over not only to football but the other sports.
Well, and the more I think about this sporting Rushmore, I've had some musings about it. I even had an article when Brady retired about what that sporting Rushmore looks like. And the more and more I think about it, not only can you not have that Rushmore without Brady, you can't have that Rushmore without Brady being A1 on that Rushmore, which is crazy to say because you have so many other athletes that did so much in their sport. I have nothing but respect for guys like MJ, like Usain, like Michael Phelps. I could go on and on and on. Wayne Gretzky, so on.
Federer.
But it's, of course, my guy.
Your guy. That's your guy, dude.
But when you look at so many different factors, Federer has the elegance. MJ had the championships and the undefeatability in the big games. You have players with the individual records. But it's never do you have a player who kind of has that grace and elegance, has that championship mindset, has the individual records, the team records, the longevity, the ability to produce in multiple places. And on top of all that, the underdog story, the pick 199, everything you could possibly ask for in an athlete, he's delivered. And you can't, I mean, there's nowhere to nitpick anymore. A lot of people have talked about how he's had 3 Hall of Fame careers. I mean, this kind of thing is unheard of.
It's one of the most absurd things I've witnessed in my lifetime is just the career of Tom Brady because of everything you said. When you want it, for instance, there's no GOAT debate. There still is it with basketball. It's always going to be there. With baseball, it's a little different. Hockey, you can kind of debate, even though, Gretzky miles better. But
I don't think there's a debate there, but yeah.
But Brady is in that where you can say Rodgers and you can say this guy and you can say this guy, but every stat that you line them up with that matters. I'm gonna say the stats that matter because I know we're gonna have some peeps and trolls out there. We're gonna be like, well, Rodgers completion, a deep pass completion was better than no. I'm talking about wins, playoff wins, Super Bowls. Not even MVPs, because Rodgers is MVPs, yards, touchdowns, the ones that matter in a game.
Getting 400 a few times for me is less valuable than being able to put up 270, 280 every single time. you step on the field, no matter who you're playing against, no matter. And I mean, it's just, and I think about the schedule release, and I wonder why I'm putting so much importance on it now. I didn't really care about what the schedule was when Brady was playing, because I was just that at ease with how the Patriots were. There was the security. I was like, I mean, whoever comes week one, we're going to bring our best, and I'm not really worried. It's Brady and Belichick. The Pats are going to figure it out, even if they lose the first 4 weeks. 1-3 record, whatever. It'll all work out, because that's what Brady does. And the fact that I don't feel that security anymore, and the fact that we're now living the experience of every other fan base, just goes to show how special Brady was for us.
It's weird. I agree there. It's weird to be on, we'll say, the normies side of things with the fandom, and talking to, my college friends who are Giants fans, and I'm trying to think of another Giants, really Jets. I don't want to associate myself with them really, so we'll stick with the Giants. But to be honest, like, jokes aside, huh?
So many Bills fans in my upstate New York community.
There is a lot of Bills fans. I forgot about that. Packers fan. I have a friends of Packers fans. So like, it's weird to be on that side where you're excited for the little things that you weren't really excited for before. Like, I mean, we talked about the draft. This is probably the first year I was very into just who we got, more or less, like, in years past, schedule release, because you're like, all right, what teams are we playing here, so we can kind of stack ourselves a nice season, and see if it's even worth it this year for a playoff run, and just little intangibles like that you wouldn't worry about when you're a dynasty, essentially. And that's one thing that has really been a learning curve in a sense. And that's why I, try to be not only the Patriot Pits, but my Lions. It's like that other heart right there. And being a fan of them and having that correlate, it's very interesting. It's weird. And going into this year, I mean, you're right. There is no security like we have with Brady, with Mac, with a lot of people.
Yeah, and this isn't to say anything against the team as it is. I'm excited for this new phase of Patriots football. I think it's going to be a fun rebuild. I think this roster is really, really good. I'll be publishing an article tomorrow about with my way too early roster predictions, and as I compile it, once again, I'm just like agonizing over how to narrow this down to 53. Great problem to have, but it's just this. We're never gonna feel that perennial dominance of like, oh, if we make the AFC Championship, that's our baseline, and then anything below that is a disappointment. Anything above that is a absolute joy. It's so rare. It's so unheard of in sports. And Brady was able to have that kind of reign, and just that kind of reign over terror. This is like if you took the run that Roman Reigns is going on.
Yes, you just
not scripted. And imagine that. Imagine if you have a champion who's defended 27 times, but it's not planned and it's actual sport. Nuts.
That's a great comparison. Roman Reigns, basically the Tom Brady of WWE. He is the one, for all my wrestling peeps out there who get that joke. But Sora, I don't mean to cut off the Tom Brady talk, because you know me, the champ. I love talking.
Yeah, we could talk about this all day.
we could just do this all day. But our New England Patriots have released their 2023 schedule. I thought it was a meme because the first 3 games said TBD, and I was like, oh, it's preseason. Of course they don't know when that is yet. So it's been confirmed. Let me get the bug up. There we go.
Yeah.
So let's go through it, Sore. All right. We got Eagles week 1. That was kind of leaked already this week. Or earlier today, I mean. It was released.
Yeah.
Did you know who released it?
Who did?
It was leaked by
Not
Mama Kelsey.
Of course. Of course.
I found that pretty interesting.
I mean, it's a special atmosphere. You have like this. You have a really really good team coming to Gillette, and you have, and when the Patriots need that little boost, that little bit of inspiration, they have the GOAT coming and cheering them on.
Yeah.
The side plot, of course, you've got a matchup of former Alabama QBs. I mean, I'm on. Jalen Hurts was also an Oklahoma boy, but he started his career with Nick Saban and Bama. Mac Jones played under Nick Saban and Bama. There's definitely some theatrics there.
They were teammates.
Obviously, the Eagles present a united challenge. We Patriots made a lot of improvements to an already great defense. How can they hold up against an incredible offense in New England? On the other hand, the Eagles made some improvements on defense to a unit that really showed their weaknesses in the Super Bowl. How can they do against a Patriots offense that'll be figuring things out? And how can the Patriots, it'll be our first look at that Patriots offense.
It's annoying to me for obviously the reason I said how I wish it was later in the season, but like, I'm sorry. It feels like every time I look at my phone and see a sleeper notification, it's the Eagles have signed this person. The Eagles have signed this person. Like, the Eagles are just signing assets to their team, trading for guys like DeAndre Swift and adding a little bit more power to.
They're sneakily one of the best GM teams in football.
Howie Roseman deserves his roses. I'm sorry. He deserves roses.
Absolutely. It's aggression, it's intelligence. Yeah, Pat, we spent some time talking about this. Yes, we definitely see that they're doing a Brady celebration. Very excited about that.
Comment. Oh, yes. We did, Pat. The Chief. They're doing a sweepstakes too. I think we should enter it. Get 2 free tickets.
Why not?
There's 2 of us here in the Yard Streams. Maybe we bring the Yard Streams to Gillette Gazette. Who knows? That's future plans. Week 2, home again against the Dolphins. So we are going to get the Dolphins week 2. The Chief is asking. I'll throw the comment up here because we got to show love to the Chief himself. We are going to be there. I'm going to try to be there week 2. My schedule is ever changing, as you know, Sora. So I don't know where work will be or whatnot, but I mean, I will say I went to the most amount of Pats games I've ever been to in my entire life last year. And that's something I'm not slowing down. Like, that's not going to change in the negative way. So, I mean, I would love to be there and get something going. So we'll see what's in the works there. But yeah, week 2 against Miami. Weird, like expected. How we feel already right now?
I'm used to having a week 1 game against the Dolphins. I'm glad that streak is broken because the Dolphins are not the kind of team you want to play with. It's always a weird matchup every year. It's always a matchup that we have surprisingly bad results in. It's not the kind of matchup you want in week 1. I really think that the Patriots would be a lot better off having had a game under their belt playing Miami and being able to start at home so they don't have to deal with those weather conditions in the Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is that it feels like they're always playing the Dolphins away to start the season. I agree that you got to go to Miami later in the year when you have had a little bit more reps and you have a couple games under your belt. Because I don't know what it is in Miami. I don't get it. The Patriots just don't play well, so they get that at home. And the Dolphins are good. I'm not debating that, but they're not anywhere near the Bills. And that's who I see as the biggest threat in the division. So I feel like the Dolphins and Patriots are 2A, 2B in the division, and just then you have the Jets, even with Rodgers. I don't care.
Yeah.
So.
I'm glad you're saying that. I feel the exact same way. And that is who we're playing after the Dolphins.
Yeah, a little tease there that we head to New York for Week 3 against the Jets. And Sora, I got a question for you. Are we really scared of like? Are you?
There are certain laws of the universe. F equals ma. The Patriots always beat the Jets.
E equals MC square.
Yeah, these all are universal truths in this world. It's again, I think we're forgetting that when Aaron Rodgers doesn't have an unbelievable supporting cast and when he doesn't have receivers like Devontae Adams, his teams don't really enter championship contention. You've seen what's happened to Rodgers teams in the past when they've lost like their Jordy Nelsons, their Devontae Adams, all that. It's not the same, and this is also just not the same Rodgers as you had 5 years ago. And I think the Jets are assembling a great team. I don't know. I don't know if I trust Robert Saleh or anyone in that coaching staff to bring the best out of that team. The Jets didn't do much with their offensive line, which they should have done during the draft. The Patriots kind of blocked them during the draft from getting Broderick Jones, and that ended up turning into no real first round offensive pick for the Jets. So
yeah, the Bills are wizard. I love him so much. I just don't see the Jets as a threat because they haven't given me a reason to. Yeah, they improved their offense last year, and Garrett Wilson's incredible. Brees Hall looks like the next young gun in the backfield to get overpaid in a contract after his rookie deal. And you add Rodgers to it, and I know the lore there of the 2-time MVP, back to back or whatever, but I don't know how he's going to do with a head coach in Salo, defensive minded, and his style clash with his. Like Rodgers kind of a head case. I mean, no sane person, and I'm not putting myself in there. It goes into the woods, just like I'm going to be in a dark room for however long and make my decision, and then you come out of the darkness and you go to the Jets. Like, dude, like I don't get it in the sense where there's so many other contenders and better options that I just don't see the Jets being a team that can get over that hump, even with a guy like Rodgers. Like, yeah, you're going to beat the teams that you're expected to beat, but in those close matchups, like you're not a team like Buffalo. You're not a Baltimore. You're not a Cincinnati. I'm trying to think of other like good teams like that.
And I absolutely agree with what the Chief is saying here. The concerning thing about playing the Jets is right now the depth of team that they have. I think they have a very strong defense. They showed that in both games against us last year. But I also think the fact that we've improved so tremendously offensively, I think people are still underselling mentally how significant of improvement we've had offensively just by getting rid of the negative influence in Patricia that so thoroughly hurt our offensive line and our and Mac Jones's development and just the whole play calling scheme. We have a real play caller. We have a real offensive line coordinator. And I feel like that just changes so much because all we were complaining about last year, play calling, offensive line, play calling, offensive line, over and over and over. If there's one guy that can bring the most out of Mac and give him that 30-year leap, it's Bill O'Brien. And so if you consider the Jets as an improved team by this much, you consider the Patriots as an improved team by this much, I don't think the matchup has changed all that much. I just and maybe I'll be proven wrong. Hopefully not in week 3, but it really just feels it really just feels like, again, one of those. It's one of those universal laws. There's universal functionings of society. The Patriots are going to beat the Jets twice because that's just how it is.
Death tax and the Jets losing to the Patriots. Also, Sora, I just looked this up because I wanted to really hammer home this point. The Jets had the 24th ranked offensive line last year. An older Rodgers going to a team with a bottom 10 offensive line. I know Mekhi Becton's a weapon, but how often is he on the field? That could be an issue because once Rodgers starts to get hit and starts to get sacked, you're going to see the hothead in him and the anger come out where he's gonna try doing it on his own, and you're gonna have friction there. That's where my focus is how well can they protect him so that he can be MVP Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't matter how open they are. He's got to have enough time to get them the ball, and with this offensive line, I don't know if that's going to be good. And I mean, this is like the Patriots, they improved in the offensive line. They may not have drafted the tackle we wanted, but they did it other ways. You know, you got coaching for it. They did a lot of behind the scenes stuff. It's one thing I just don't know. I don't have any opinion on the Jets because they just don't give me anything to be excited about.
Absolutely. I mean, and this isn't like the Patriots are going to have to execute to win this game, but with a more harmonized coaching staff, I think execution is going to be, again, back to being one of their benefits. Where they're last year it was that they made a somewhat decent roster look terrible. Now they're going to be able to execute to make a somewhat decent roster look excellent. That's what I think. I mean, you're still going to struggle in matchups against teams with superb rosters, your Eagles, your Chiefs, your Bills. But when it comes to these kinds of neutral matchups, where if you look at the 53 and the 53 and it seems pretty neutral, then Bill's coaching matchup takes over and it's over. Next, we've got the Cowboys.
Oh, I was just about to say that. Yeah, we got the Cowboys.
It's always a fun one, isn't it?
I like when we play the Cowboys.
High octane. I mean, the last time we played the Cowboys 2 years ago, we almost stole a win against them. It took some really bad mistakes to cost them that game. But I think it's just going to be entertainment. I think Cowboys offense always produces quite well, and their defense doesn't always produce quite well. So I think we're going to see a lot of points. It's still just a walking question mark what Dak is. He's both better than I like. There are times where I forget that Dak is conventionally considered as a good quarterback, and then he'll go out and shock me. And then there are times where he'll just throw in duds. When you look at a guy like Dak who has a tendency to throw interceptions, and you look at our opportunistic group of corners, that's what you're watching when it comes to this game.
Yeah, I'm excited for this matchup in the sense that obviously the Cowboys, I don't know what it is, but I love seeing Patriots versus Cowboys. Just a nice football, both America's teams in their own right matchup. But yeah, you don't see the Cowboys a lot, and the Cowboys are a very interesting team because they have Dak, who is on that fence of jumping into that elite echelon if with the right coaching staff. And I'm very interested to see, this sparks my actual point, no Kellen Moore with Dak Prescott. I feel like Kellen Moore was a huge asset or, huge tool in his toolbox. And now he's gone to the Chargers. Whoever you bring in, he's got to flow well with Dak because you can give Zeke the ball all he wants. Oh, no, they got rid of Zeke. It's Tony Pollard now. So you're going to give Tony Pollard the ball. He'll do well. The Cowboys are interesting to me in the sense because they can put up a lot of points and their defense is just like, meh.
Yeah. I think it'll be an entertaining game.
Perpetual mid-tier due to his inconsistency for sure. He is inconsistent. I hate Dak Prescott in the sense of that because he cost me a fantasy football championship. I will never live it down because he is inconsistent. One game you're gonna have. Yeah, you go off.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what version of Dak is going to come out at any given week, and if the version of Dak that played that wild card game against the Bucks comes out, it will be impossible to beat the Cowboys. But let's remember the Bucks had a horrendous secondary, and the Patriots now have a extremely elite secondary. You look at, I mean, you look at this unit. You've got the star first round pick in Gonzalez. You've got Jonathan Jones. You've got the other two Jones. You got Jack and Marcus, just unreal athletes all around, all four of them. And then on the safeties end, you've got this unreal group of hybrid linebackers, safeties, whether it's whether it's Kyle Duggar or Adrian Phillips,
my guy,
Mr. Peppers, and now you've got a little Marte Mapu action. Let's see what our third round pick can do.
Yeah, what do you think? Yeah, you were high on him. You liked him. You liked him. You were a fan of that pick.
I thought he's a good player. I wasn't a fan of that pick for one reason. They already have three hard hitting linebacker safety hybrids. You don't need another one, and you could have attacked another position. But now when you look at the secondary, you've got linebackers who can cover, you've got safeties who can tackle. It's a scary proposition. And then you've got just unbelievably fast and athletic corners. I mean, what more can you ask for? And then you've got a lot of youth, and you've got the experienced Jonathan Jones to kind of bring that unit together.
Big fan.
Good passing offenses are going to have some troubles playing New England.
Yeah, people forget the New England Patriots had a top 5 defense last year.
Mm-hmm.
They were that good on defense. It was the offensive woes that killed us. Saints after the Cowboys in week 5. Saints in October this year.
I have some good associations with Saints in October. We remember that unbelievable comeback from Brady.
Where's the beef?
That pass to Kembrell Tompkins at the end of the game.
Yes.
Forget what years this was, but
it was 2013. It was the same night as the David Ortiz grand slam. It was one of the greatest 2 moments of sports history, back to back. Brady throws the touchdown, and then 15-20 minutes later, we're outside at the bonfire. It's like, hey guys, David Ortiz did a grand slam, and that moment just lives. Oh,
and hey, not to get our hopes too high up, but the Sox are having a nice season so far.
The Sox are the hottest team in Boston. Sox are the hottest team in Boston, hands down. That's in
a little repeat, a big playoff moment coinciding with a great win over the Saints. I'm manifesting it. Let's have it.
I'll manifest that. Nice little Rob Ref Snyder 2-run home run right after we have an unreal performance by Mac Jones. Tyquan Thornton, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I like where your head's at.
There we go. I'm thinking positive or unrealistic, depends on who you ask. But I like the Saints this year for one man. I'm a huge fan of Derek Carr. Huge fan of Derek Carr and the Saints. This is a game where it's week 5. So realistically, let's look at this. All right, they'll probably, I'll say, lose to the Eagles. At worst case scenario, you start 0-2, then you beat the Jets, you beat the Cowboys because that'll be your big win. That's all right, this is a legit squad. Then you play the Saints, and this could go either way. However, I just feel like Derek Carr, the Saints this year, Michael Thomas is allegedly back, and how well, what's his name? Callaway. What's his first name? I forget. It's just the Saints are a weird team. Their defense got a little better too. Cam Jordan scares me coming off the line, and Tyrann Mathieu over the top. So that's a game where it may not be important right now, but you're going to look at that game and be like, this is a turning point in the season. Are we going to go in the right direction, or we still got a lot of work to do by losing to these guys?
Well, this is somewhere where I think Belichick can exploit his coaching matchup. I mean, if this was Belichick versus Sean Payton, I'd be thinking differently. But Belichick v. Dennis Allen is a big mismatch. I think I agree with everything you said about Carr. I really think he's not given the credit he deserves, and I don't think he was the problem with the Raiders last year. But at the same time, I do think the Patriots kind of know how to play him. They definitely showed that last year in that game. And speaking of Derek Carr, the next game that the Patriots are playing,
great transition
to my mind, as a kind of a triple revenge game. And I'll tell you why. One, we're playing Josh McDaniels. Got to win that. Belichick has had a terrible record against assistant coaches. We've got to erase that curse. Two, the last time we played our former quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, we got beat 33-6 by the 49ers in the Cam Newton year, in probably the most humiliating game I have watched as a Patriots fan. And in the second most humiliating game I've ever watched as a Patriots fan, last year's game against the Raiders, the Patriots found the single worst possible way to end a game in NFL history.
Yeah.
You have to have this one.
You got to win this game. The Raiders are a franchise spiraling, and who's their quarterback? I don't even know who their quarterback is right now. I'm blanking.
Jimmy.
It's Jimmy. Okay, you did say that. Okay.
It's an improvement.
But
it's a negative change from last year for them.
I think it's lateral. You like they both do the same thing, do different things, but essentially it's the same thing.
Right. I mean, Jimmy manages games better. Huh? Derek Carr throws the. Jimmy manages games better. Derek Carr throws the ball better. But
right there,
is Jimmy going to bring the same luster out of a guy like Devontae Adams that Derek Carr was able to? That's the question that'll kind of decide this game for me.
But Derek, like the thing is with the Raiders, their defense is the biggest issue. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. It's ridiculous.
Except against us.
Again, but they didn't stop us. We gave them the game.
We stopped ourselves. Yeah.
We beat ourselves a lot last year, not just in that game. It's so the Raiders, to me, it's like this is a easy winnable game. And this is not like how, Belichick's woes against assistant coach and whatnot. This is a very winnable game. Patriots right now are a much better team than the Raiders in every box. Check every box. They're the better team. On the field, off the field, front office, they're just a better organization. I don't see this is a game that you must win. You must win this game.
I'm with you there.
What's the next one? We have
Buffalo.
Had it. Ew.
Buffalo at home.
This is tough. This is going to be tough.
Look, this is the year where the Patriots can actually test themselves against the Bills in a fair way. Last year, those games they didn't feel fair just because it was the version of that Patriots offense that came on the field that first game was just a whole lot of nothing. I mean, for I'll give an example. Marcus Jones scored on a 48-yard touchdown in one of the craziest plays I've ever seen, just because of what happened, what you were seeing. You were seeing your rookie cornerback go and score a touchdown, and then he didn't see the field on offense again. That's the kind of play caller you had. the kind of guy who would yell at Mac for calling an audible after scoring a touchdown. The kind of guy that would see something good happen and not do it again. This is a, with 6 games to kind of acclimate to their offense and get used to things. This is where you can really test where the Patriots stand in the division and the conference.
Yeah, this is a game, very important one, obviously, but I don't know, this can be your biggest test, and to have it this early on, I think it's a good thing. I feel like for a while, or at least for the past few years, if the Pats have been playing the Bills much later in the season, and it's kind of back to back, and you don't get that exposure right away, so you see them right now. It would week 6, 7. It'll be week 7 that they play them. Oh shit! There it is. Week 7, and then you go a couple more, whatever. Point is, you see them early before in the first half of the season, then you see them in the second half. You're a completely different team. So you get all those kinks out, get to see who their top guys are, who's playing well, whatnot. And then in the second half, when you're making that playoff push, you can actually put into gear and make those adjustments from the first game.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the next one? Oh, it's Dolphins.
Yeah, a little division duo
in Miami.
I'm almost glad the Patriots are getting.
Sorry? You froze. All right, Sora froze. Let me just let him know. You froze. You are frozen, Sora. All right. Yeah, it's a nice game right in the first half where you get the Dolphins over with. You struggle in Miami to begin with, get it over before you start getting in the games that really matter. So are we back? And Sora's gone. So the champ is here, keeping the show rolling. I like the Dolphins matchup right now in that week 7. I like it. I've already mentioned that. So I don't want to go right into, I'll just talk about it. Next week after that is week 8, I'm pretty sure. Let me make sure because, yeah. All right. Yeah. No. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We week 9. Week 9, they play the Commanders November 5th, and it's away. Okay. And this kind of goes with the Raiders game in the sense where if you don't win this game, it's a really bad look. The Commanders may have, they're just the mid team to me. I'm pretty sure Sam Howell is the quarterback. I'm gonna look this up while Sora fixes his shit. Commanders. Well, they got Terry McLaurin. That is one of the most underrated wide receivers. He's like a DeAndre Hopkins, where you could throw any quarterback on his team, and somehow Terry McLaurin will still have 1,000 yards and like 7 touchdowns. Yeah, they have Sam Howell. That's who it was. Jacoby Brissett. I did not know that. Jacoby Brissett. He's QB2, but Sam Howell, the rookie, I'm pretty sure, or is he second year? Basically a rookie. Yeah, basically a rookie, sophomore, super senior, whatever. It's gonna be interesting to see him take the reins of this team because they have, this is a decent roster they have here. You have Brian Robinson Jr., Ty McLaurin, John Dotson, Curtis Samuel, who I think did not get utilized enough last season. I think Curtis Samuel has a lot of potential on the Commanders, especially with that offense. He's a possession slot receiver that could bail out Sam Howell a lot. And the problem is, when you're a guy like Sam Howell, who's your first, second year guy, quarterback, your biggest safety blanket is the tight end. Okay, we've seen it across the league. And they have a great tight end. The problem is he's very injury prone. And Logan Thomas, I don't want to say anything bad about him because it's just he's been injured. When he's on the field, he's great. I mean, a big target, strong guy, receiver more than a blocker, and that's what the Commanders need, I feel like. And he's got to stay on the field. He's got to stay on the field and stay healthy, and he could really be a huge weapon for Sam Howell. But then their defense, I mean, let's just look at it. I think, oh shit, this is yeah, that's what I thought. All right, so it's their line. All right, for any of my Patriot peeps who are like, well, do we have to worry about anything with Commanders? There's only one thing I'd worry about, and it's their defensive line. Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, and Darren Payne. Pretty good. Those are pretty good rushers. So I would be concerned, especially with our offensive line woes, going against them, protecting Matt against them. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty of it, I got Commanders getting their ass kicked. And here he is. He's back. You just missed a little champions monologue about why the Patriots are going to destroy the Commanders. Except you only got to worry about, actually, you find it. What I want to see if you will be on the same page as me. Out of the entire Commanders team, what part of it scared you the most?
I don't know if there's anything about this Commanders team that scares me.
Not one thing. Not like I want to say worry, but like when you're game planning, you're gonna put a focus on this part of their team.
Well, having had him on fantasy a couple times, I don't really want to go against Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. What about the other side of the ball?
I mean, they're edges for sure.
There we go. Okay. That's my biggest concern is Chase Young. And
even when you look there, like Chase Young hasn't been the Chase Young that everybody was expecting. Even that's a weak spot. For me, the reason our matchups against the edges was so scary last year was that our offensive line was producing at such a low level. Well, but when I think about what our offensive line could be with better coaching, and you got, I would think Riley Reef on the right, Trent Brown on the left. I think that's a pretty good tackle set because I think the thing that was missing for Trent Brown last year was not ability, it was coaching. And Riley Reef absolutely has the ability and the experience. All of a sudden, I think you have a good group of tackles. And now you look at a promising but ultimately somewhat disappointing edge in Chase Young, and it doesn't scare me to the extent that matchup would have scared me last year. I think we could have actually lost that matchup to the Commanders last year just because Chase Young would be tormenting Mac all game. But I don't see that happening this year. Yeah.
I am all in on that. Don't really need to add more because it's the Commanders dumpster fire organization. But Sora in week 10. Yeah, it's 10. I'm looking at the Patriots graphic. We go to Deutschland. We go to Germany for some football, yeah.
I love the idea of just waking up 9:15, getting going on a quick dunks run.
Nice Dunkin' Iced.
Maybe making myself a waffle, and then just sitting down to some Patriots football.
Waffles, pancakes, French toast. Rank it.
I'm really interested to see how this defense, which kind of struggled last year against running quarterbacks, does against the unreal dynamic Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to jump the shark on Anthony Richardson and give my, one way or the other. because he's such a raw talent. And this will be the first time the Colts have a young quarterback that they can develop. They said goodbye to just bringing in a vet to try to get them a playoff push and give them one last ride off in the sunset. They're actually going to develop someone for the first time since Andrew Luck. What a better guy to be that sort of developing quarterback than Anthony Richardson, because he's kind of in that nice hybrid of this era of quarterbacks where it's mobile, more running than throwing, but he has a good arm. Like, I'm fascinated to see how they develop him into a potential and hopeful franchise quarterback.
Ultimately, it feels a lot like defending Justin Fields last year, where I feel like if you can force him to throw, you can benefit a lot. Unfortunately, we were there live. The Patriots did not force him to throw, and he ran all over us. But those few times where he was kept in the pocket in that game, he wasn't very good. And honestly, when it comes to Anthony Richardson, he has an arm that really pops, but his completion percentage is just north of 50. He can be very turnover prone when he's under pressure. You'll see an Anthony Richardson game where he goes for 403 touchdowns, and then the next week you'll see him go for like 91.
Interesting. Okay. See, all right. So the inconsistency, that could be something that the Colts are really gonna have to work on, and the Patriots could even use to their advantage. I mean, imagine just that defensive line we have, just absolutely eating the rookie alive. What they did to Zach Wilson, they chewed him up and spit him back out twice. Sora's a little spotty here. But I agree, Chief. There's no one. I'm gonna sit. I'll throw this up here. I agree with you, Pat. That there's no one that you can't root against Anthony Richardson. And whatever I'm rambling about right now, I would never root against him. I just am fascinated the fact that we're gonna see him develop as a Colt. Like, he is the next Colts guy, and you didn't really expect him to be the Colts' next franchise quarterback, and especially with such a difference in quarterbacks from who they've had previous. Even their backups. I mean, Sam Ehlinger is no mobile quarterback. He may be able to run a little bit. You have Phillip Rivers and Matt Ryan, who, they pretty much have a recliner in the pocket and just strong arming it. You're going to and especially with him following Manning and Luck, yeah, you're going to see him with Jonathan Taylor, and that is something. Oh, let me add you here, Sora. I'm talking right now about Richardson and JT. No, we don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about him like that. I'm talking about Anthony Richardson and JT and that backfield that could be, because that could be a lethal backfield running the option and trick plays and whatnot. And then you add Michael Pittman to that as an actual weapon to throw to. The Colts offense has potential to be pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the game last year where the Patriots had to kind of rely on the Colts offense just giving them the ball back every possession to win that game, because their defense gave some problems. I think Yannick Ngakoue is still a free agent, but at this point, I think the Colts are just going to try to pick him back up. And you've got DeForest Buckner. It's going to be a tough group to go against. I think the key to that game, I really think the biggest key to that game is
waiting in anticipation for what the key to the game is. They do have some fast and young wide receivers also. Doolin, I don't know him. See, that's the thing. That's my biggest issue, is that I didn't watch college football from growing up because I had I worked every Saturday. So I only got to watch really NFL. So I don't get these guys, and it's tough. So when they come over, I'm trying to bring that. All right, so how do they come over into the NFL and whatnot? So, so are you back? Is Sora back? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. All right, this
All right.
is an anti PSA against Xfinity. They don't know how to make good internet, clearly. But I'm here. I'm back. We're
All right. We
we're
have a
doing
few
some
more games
analysis.
to wrap up. We'll go kind of quick here because we are approaching that 1 hour, and you have spotty Wi-Fi, and I want to actually hear your thoughts and not just guess them through a nice picture in the hardest dreams. So week 11, New York Giants. After that, I'll let you go because I've been kind of royal rambling here.
Well, I always feel a little extra edge when we're playing the Giants. I mean,
Yeah.
for obvious reasons, right? But I think the Giants made a lot of strides last year. I ultimately don't think Danny Dimes is all that he's being paraded out to be and all that he's being paid out to be. And I think the Giants needed to make, rather than spending so much money on him, the Giants needed to make improvements elsewhere. That being said, I think they're a pretty well-rounded team. They're Brian Dable is one of the few people that actually knows how to really maneuver through a strategic battle with a Belichick defense. So that's one of the coaching matchups that worries me this year. I think that could definitely be trouble. I think the Giants have a decent defense, nothing unbelievably elite, but they definitely have some playmakers there. For me that game will depend a lot on whether the Patriots offense can keep up. I think the Giants are going to probably put up somewhere between your 21 and 28 points, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I'll be
So
a
the
high
Patriots
scoring
have
game.
a reasonably good game. They can win it. And I think it's really going to come down to how that matchup between Belichick's defense, Brian Dable's offense, and then to top that off, just if the Patriots can take advantage of some weaknesses in that Giants secondary.
Yeah. Yeah, they did take advantage there. The Giants don't scare me. Daniel Jones doesn't scare me. Pat's winning that one. And let's move on because you pretty much summed it up. Chargers. This could be a good game. I'm very excited for this one. I love to watch the Chargers. Heard Justin Herbert coming. Wait, are they on the road? Hold on. I thought, yeah, they're on the road. Gonna see Kellen Moore's Chargers. We're gonna see a little bit of a better offense, more complete team. What are we thinking?
Well, I think it's the past few years you saw the Chargers being held back by their coaching. It's hard to tell like the extent to which they're going to improve, but I find it hard to believe that they're not going to improve at all in that aspect. And so I think things could be interesting. You look at the way the Chargers lost in the playoffs last year, and the problem is not the talent. The Chargers absolutely have the roster. They've had a couple good free agencies in a row. They're really building up an elite team. The revenge match that I'm going to point to it there is Pats versus J.C. Jackson. Belichick's gonna be out to exploit that guy like anything.
Oh, he's gonna know him he knows him like the back of his hand at this point. So.
He made him, so
he literally did. It's just I am very interested in seeing that one because I know what it is, but the Chargers, they're such a fun team with Herbert, that offense, and then you have the defense. Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, fully healthy, Derwin James. Derwin James, one of my favorite safeties in the league. And they're gonna play against the Pats. It's gonna be tough. Those wide receivers we got against Derwin James, hard hitting guy. That's brutal. Steelers.
No,
December 7th.
Yeah.
It
Thursday night game.
is a
Those
Thursday
are
night.
always. Yeah, I think Steelers don't really worry me. The Patriots realistically should have won by a lot more last year against the Steelers, but I think a lot of this game is going to depend on how much Kenny Pickett evolves from year 1 to year 2. He was really finding his stride towards the end of that first year. It's going to be really interesting. I don't know if the Steelers have quite the playmakers that they need to make the most out of Pickett. They have good playmakers. They have good receivers. They're an all around good team, but there's nothing about the Steelers that just absolutely, terrifies me on the offensive side of the ball, other than Najee Harris. And they've done well against elite bats. For me, elite receivers worry me a little bit more in general when it comes to Patriots opponents. This is just becoming a receiver-driven league. So that's going to be interesting. I know the Steelers had a lot of issues at offensive line, so that they were able to get Broderick Jones in the draft fit them a lot. We'll see how well he's up to that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Steelers to me, you look at their roster. There's a lot.
I couldn't agree more. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. No, I agree. I definitely agree with that. I really. Oh, what you were just making a good point. Oh, he was just making a good point. Oh, and he's just leaving. All right, let me see. All right. Well, the Steelers. All right, we got the Chiefs. We're getting through the whole. We're not gonna end it with the Steelers. Okay, the season doesn't end on December 7th. All right. Right now it says the final game TBD because that is really when the final game for the Patriots will be. TBD. No one knows that yet. But we do know that the Patriots will face the Chiefs December 18th. This is going to be the matchup against the Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not gonna pencil in a winner or loser yet, but this is definitely going to be the Pats need to be on their A game. They need to be playing their best football or working towards playing their best football right now. It does for the Lions. Damn #1 pride, Chief. It's going to be a very interesting game. I'm very excited to watch this one. I think this will probably get flexed or something. Hopefully the Patriots are in there. And then December 24th, the champ's half birthday, Christmas Eve. Traveling to Denver. We're Denver. Oh, what's blue? All right, blue is away. So playing the Broncos away in Denver, Christmas Eve. They just better be good. Like, I don't know what to think of the Broncos right now. Yeah, you have Sean Payton with Russell Wilson. Yeah, I know, right? Chief, it's pretty cool. You have Russell Wilson, Sean Payton. Welcome back, science guy. It's Jerry Jeudy, Gordon Sutton, all those guys. Their defense kind of took a hit, though. Okay, the Broncos' defense took a hit this year, which I don't think a lot of people are really talking about, and that's where the Patriots can really hit them. Where it hurts the most is just beating them on offense and letting the defense just let Russ try and cook. Let him make his mistakes. Jamal, no, not Jamal. Javonte Williams, I would say, is the biggest threat more than Russ to that team. The Patriots just have notoriously struggled to stop the run. So, I think in that case, Sora, are you? Is your Wi-Fi allowing you to speak? They're silencing the science guy. I don't like this. I want to hear what the science guy has to say. But we have to keep the show moving, and it's a bunch of nonsense, but we push through. And then Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, travel back up to Buffalo Bills, Pats on New Year's Eve. Hopefully this ends in a good thing. Is it the hurricane? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if that's a serious question or not. So I'll let Sora try and answer that. It's just going to be, if the Patriots want to be in the best position possible for not only a playoff run, but a Super Bowl run, you need to win this game against the Buffalo Bills. You need to win this game in week 17, I'm pretty sure, because it's 18 now. Yeah. You need to win this game because what that does is that will set you up for obviously seeding, but then to that momentum. You have the momentum on your side. So I feel like there you got to have the Bills. Beat the Bills there. And then finally, week 18, before we wrap this up, they play the Jets at home. I swear to God, if Rodgers ruins week 18, I'm going to be not a happy champion. So that's our thoughts for here. This is, we pushed through, but yeah, this, is kind of wrapping up here. The Wi-Fi wants to shut us down, but the content will still be moving on Twitter at Pat_Pitts to follow me for all my thoughts. Follow Sora at Sorvora, and also follow Stadium Rant at Stadium Rant HQ on Twitter and Instagram, where you can get all your sports content unapologetically fearless, or I forget, whatever it is. But go check that out. We got articles ranging from all NFL stuff, especially with the schedule releases coming up. The NBA playoffs are here. The NHL playoffs are here. Sora's has written a Celtics article. Sora, we here? I'm wrapping up the show. And he's okay. I'm wrapping up the show, Sora. So we're
here.
in time.
I'm gonna give some thoughts.
Yeah, you get some final thoughts.
Was
I'll let you give some final thoughts here, because you need to speak.
There was a point. This point, everybody was listening.
There is no way it just froze. Like, there's no way. Oh my God, dude. What did you do to piss off the Wi-Fi gods? He's gone. And he's out of here. All right, so we're going to wrap this up because I don't know what's happening. And this is just, I don't know what's going on. So follow Stadium Rant HQ on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook as well. So actually just wrap it up. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Stadium Rant HQ. And then, the Celtics are losing. Oh my God. All right, so we better wrap this up. Follow me at Pat_Pitts on Twitter, Instagram at Pitsy35, Sora on Twitter at Sorvora. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Stadium Rant. Okay, subscribe to our channel. We not only have the best podcast in Stadium Rant, Gillette, Gazette, but we have other great ones as well. Dirty Leather Baseball. We have Fifth Down Territory, the official NFL one. Okay, I know it's the official NFL, but like, come on, champ's here on the Gillette Gazette. And then we have the Golf One Forewarning, because golf is awesome. So go check all those shows out. And TikTok, we're on the TikTok. Okay, dude's been putting. We got a staff behind the scenes that are doing a tremendous job on our social channels and the TikTok as well. So, you got to give credit where credit's due, and they deserve the credit because they've been really pumping out the content. They need the support from you. So go follow them on TikTok at Stadium Rant HQ as well, and visit our website, stadiumrant.com, for all those articles that I talked about with us tweeting out. This has been a nonsensical show from the Gillette Gazette. I am your champion of the Peeps Patty Pits, signing off saying God bless, have a good one, and remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. We'll see you next time.